All right. I'm not sure if everybody can hear me. I'm having some difficulties. Kind of new at this. Let me see if I can get a camera up. It says I can't do it. I had no problem doing this in Newport. I'm not sure why this is happening. Um, let's see. Um, Anybody can hear, if anybody's watching, if anybody's there, can you just let me know, like in the chat, can you just let me know that you can hear me? I don't know why the camera's not. Nothing seems to be working. I don't know. I don't understand what's happening. Sorry. If anybody has more information about how to do YouTube than I do, um, let me know. Um, oh, good. Thank you, Chris. I'm not sure. It says I don't have access to the camera, and I'm not sure why. So I'm sorry that you can't see. I mean, all right. So we can like I can still see your chats. If you can still hear me, we'll go over a little bit of what we're going to cover with the Q&A. If anybody has any questions, please be sure to ask. Um, I yeah, Chris, apparently I needed it before 10 minutes beforehand. I did this in Newport, and I don't know why it's having as much trouble now as it was then. Um, so yeah, I don't know why the camera's not working. It's so odd. Anyways, for those of you that are here, welcome, welcome. My name's Susan. I'm one of the co-owners and race directors of Road Races. We're discussing the Bristol Independence Day half, which is happening on um, on next next. I think you lost you. Super choppy. Not sure. I have really good speeds. Um, All right, so it's happening next Saturday, the 24th. It's happening in Bristol, Rhode Island, and it is part of the 4th of July celebration, the oldest the Bristol events for their 4th of July celebration. It's a lot of fun. They really know how to throw a party, concerts, and carnivals, and just tons and tons of stuff. Um, so, really very cool. So a bit of history of the race. We started this race in 2015. We've held it every year since then in rain, fog, humidity, just some good weather, some bad weather, just the nature of road races. One year we almost had to cancel it because of of thunderstorms, but it doesn't seem to be working. God damn it! Oop, sorry, I shouldn't have sworn. If anybody can hear me, let's. I don't know why I'm not. All right, I'm going to try one more time. Chris, I do appreciate you chiming in. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I have good Wi-Fi connections. It's on my laptop. I know I'm not supposed to do it on a device. I can't do it on my iPad. Um, yeah, I'm not really sure what is happening with this YouTube. Epic fail, unfortunately. Um, if anybody can't hear me and they have specific questions, you can put them in the chat. I'll say them out loud and I will respond in the chat if that helps. Um, But yes, I'm not sure how I can make this better. Gosh, I guess I have to brush up on this. Huh. Chris, if you can hear me, do you know why I don't have a audio feed? Why I'm not having access to that? Um, I'll just kind of go through this, and if people can hear me, great. If not, I'm not really sure how to fix it. See if I can get it better. Um, so yes, we are on Saturday the 24th. We study 6:30 in the morning. The reason being twofold is that it's warm, it's hot, so we try to beat the weather, but also because Bristol is very busy that time of year. Just between the tourists and the 4th of July celebrations and everything that kind of goes on that day, we do start very, very early. So, bid pickup times and locations, we'll have Thursday at Roadrunner, and then and that's 5 to 7. Friday is at the Bristol Maritime Center, which is just a beautiful building. It's on Thames Street. It's a little tricky to get there, so put in your GPS. It's probably the best way to get there. It's right down the street from the start and finish, maybe like quarter of a mile, not even that far, certainly walking distance. And there's parking across the street. And you kind of have to walk down this pretty little cobblestones to get to it. And then Saturday morning, we do have bid pickup right before the race. We don't recommend that you use that. We always recommend that you start your bid pickup on Thursday or Friday. But if you are going to pick up that morning, please arrive early. As far as parking, we don't have any dedicated parking at the race start and finish because we are at on Independence Park. But because Bristol hosts the concerts every night for thousands and thousands of people, there's plenty of parking on streets, on public parking lots. Guitarra School is a good option. Any of the side streets between like Thames Street, High Street, Hope Street, there's lots of options there, especially you're going to be there so early. Race, as I mentioned, starts right at Independence Park at 6:30. We will have start flags so you can see them. It will be on the road at Thames Street. Um, so we do have a hard cutoff of 3.5 hours. So if you have put in an assigned estimated finish of greater than a quarter hours, you will be assigned to the early start because of that hard cutoff. With the early start, you just have to start at 5:30. Would you be at the start line about 10 minutes beforehand, check in with the timer, and she'll set everybody off at the same time. Course will be marked. The aid stations might not be set up a mile or two. Um, I just know the first aid station might not be up with the volunteers yet, and just be prepared for that. And then as far as we've had some questions as to whether you can start early if you need to get done earlier or you want to beat the heat. The answer to that is no. It's not USATF uh, fair for people who are wanting to win to start early. And it's not as safe because the volunteers aren't there, the police aren't in place. The race hasn't actually started. So if you do finish in under 2.5 hours and you started early, you will be disqualified. The race starts at 6:30. It is not optional more than 3.5 hours. So this year we have reversed the course. We had some suggestions to do that, and we actually thought it was a really good suggestion. And the police were more than willing to help us do that. So we were pretty excited to try this new method. It gets us through the downtown section earlier, which we think is going to be a little bit safer. More views on the back half, which is nice. Um, so that is really great. So what we'll do is we'll start at Independence and we'll go north. We'll go north up Thames, north to Hope Street, and then up Chestnut. We'll go down. If for those of you who ran last year, you remember we call it the Perry Hill, which you may or may not know, I actually coached the cross country team at the high school that you passed. So that Perry Hill is in our race route every single day. So I'm very sympathetic with having to run up that hill. Bristol is as we come off water, sea level, and back down. So we run through downtown section past the Bristol Common. We weave through the Bristol Parade route, so you'll follow the red, white, and blue line, and you really get appreciation of just what a beautiful, quaint little town Bristol is, and how they really get decked out for the 4th of July. So right around mile 6.5, 7, that's where we're going up onto Metacom, and we're going to have a relay exchange point at mile 7.5, which is just before into Roger Williams. So if you're doing the two-person relay, that's where the exchange point will be. There will be signs there for you. And then we'll go through Roger Williams path like we did last year. But use that shell path for a couple of reasons. One, it is a beautiful way to see the Mount Hope Bridge and Narragansett Bay that you can only get to by foot. B, it gets us off the roads a little bit, something a little bit different, and it is just a gorgeous, gorgeous route through there. So we'll run through the shell path, we come back up through Roger Williams University, and then we get that stunning view of Mount Hope Bridge, which is just after mile 9 this year. So we'll come up, that's Old Ferry Road, we'll cross the street, we'll go down through Monkey Wrench, which is a very nice neighborhood. Here we're using a mile about in the Columbus Fathers property. We are eliminating Blythewald this year. Blythewald while beautiful, it did have a grassy section, that happy with. And because Blythefield is a wedding destination, it was a little late in the day for them. So Columban Feathers have been great with allowing us to utilize their property. Similar in mileage and similar in location, just they have a little less going on a Saturday morning, which is nice. And then we'll finish going past the Hershoff America's Cup Museum, past the Lobster Pot Restaurant, right through downtown, onto Constitution, back onto Thames, and back into Independence Park for that last 13.1 and the finish line. So beautiful course, just very patriotic. We encourage everybody to wear their red, white, and blue because that is it helps with the festivities. We do get a lot of questions as to why we changed the course from a few years back, why we don't use Colt State Park and the East Bay Bike Path. The reason being is that those two properties are managed by the Department of Environmental Management, Rhode Island's DEM, and they have put a moratorium on events from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and it is we can't change the race date. We have to be part of it. We do have to use just the Bristol part, which is again, it's a Bristol race, so we were happy to be able to do that. Um, we will have aid stations every 2 miles. We have a course map that will show you where those are. That's at aid station will have water, electrolytes, porta potties. Some will have cliff at the everything but the first aid station. But we do recommend you hydrate in advance of the race. A couple days beforehand, that morning, make sure you're fully hydrated before the race. That's really when you need to do it. And then exchange point, you only need one team member to check everybody in. So we're going to give you a race bib belt with the bib attached, and at bib pickup, you will get one medal for the first runner, first leg of the team. So the first team member will clip the race belt onto their waist. They'll run the first 7.5 miles. At the exchange zone, they'll take off the bib belt and they'll hand it to their second leg so that must be done in and uh, comments. I'm definitely going to reschedule this for later. I don't know what happened. I've done this before, but I'll go through it now for those that have made the time to do it. And if you do have questions, please put them in the chat, and I can answer them both via audio uh, and in the chat. So there is no transportation to Roger Williams. You do have to transport yourself. The reason being that the roads are kind of busy. So if one member drives their car to Roger Williams, there's plenty of parking there. When you exchange the bib belt, we recommend you exchange the keys as well so that the other person can either go home or go back to the finish line, whichever they prefer. And the other questions that we've been getting is, can one member run the whole course? And the reason that we're going to say no is because the course is based on the number of runners that we plan on at any one person going through an aid station, one person on the course, one person finishing. And once we start to have that one member continue on or run longer than they were accounted for, that takes away from the aid stations. That takes away from the volunteers might not, you have already gotten a medal. And if we give away too many medals, we might not have enough for everybody. So we just ask that you stay within the relay zone. And if you want to cheer on your teammate, maybe bring a bike, maybe run, the course, the way the course does intersect is that you can meet them at certain spots. Um, I'm going to answer Chris. The post race party is at mile 3 of the course, but it's about 2 blocks from the finish line. It's really very close. But I'm going to actually come back to that after we talk. So that's going over the relay part of it. We will send out an email just before the race that does give all the relay teams this information. Post race party this year is at Pivotal. Pivotal is actually, you're going to pass it at mile 3 on the course. It's on Wood Street, but it's actually 2 blocks up from the finish line. It's very walkable, and it's a great location. It's in like this old mill. There's a great pizza place that's right next door. they're gonna open up for us at 11:30 that day, and your bib will have a tear off, and you'll be able to get the tear off from you'll get a free beer with that tear off on race day. So thank you to Vigilant for thank you to Pivotal for helping us out with that. Um, and then as far as the course elevation, it is on our Strava link. So if you go into roadraces.com and then you go to events Bristol and then scroll to course map, there's a couple different options there. The Strava one will show the elevation that's on there. And you can, like, if you're familiar with Strava, we just want to thank all our sponsors that are part of the event. So, Pivotal, as I mentioned, the OPT PAPIS physical therapy team will be there giving you post race massages. So, we really appreciate them. Rhode Island National Guard will be there. John Andrade Insurance, who's been our insurance company for some time, has been there. So, we really are grateful to all the sponsors that can do that. So I know this wasn't the best as far as audio or video. I will reschedule it. But if anybody does have any questions that they want answered, um, feel free to shoot them in the chat to reach out over our info there. We always like talking to you. We always want to give you the best race experience that we give you. So we'll answer any questions that you have there. So again, my apologies for this. I will reschedule it maybe tomorrow night, maybe next week. But appreciate you trying to chime in.